"28 degrees in the barn this morning. Had to break out the down liner out of the engine guard bag. But what better time is there than now to talk about making coffee on the road?" Welcome back to UTADV. I hope this episode finds you doing well. If not, just kind of going out of your mind, being isolated there. I'm hoping you're finding some social interaction and surrounding yourself with good, nourishing people and an environment, and keeping yourself busy on whatever level. I've been on spring break this whole week. That's why you've been getting an episode a day out of me. Starting Monday, I go back to school. I'm teaching online now, so that'll be an interesting challenge, and I'm looking forward to seeing my students again. Two things going to happen in this show. One, I'm going to go through some gear review as far as the items that I use to make coffee, and then I'm going to make some coffee. And so we'll see how that turns out. To start off with, you always have to have a pretty good coffee maker if you want to go through and have some kind of consistency and dial in how your flavors are going to work that way. For years and years, I've used this old JetBoil. This was a gift from a student of mine. We did a documentary on motorcycle culture on the Pacific Coast Highway a long time ago, and I got this, and I've been using this ever since. I broke down and bought a new one because the piezo lighter on this doesn't work very well. It doesn't work at all. I use a different lighter, which I'll show you here in just a minute. But outside of that, I like it better than the new one I bought. The new JetBoil. The JetBoil Java is built pretty much like the old one is, except for a couple of big differences here. One is the actual burner has been changed. The old burner was a relatively stout. Let's see if I can get that into focus here. Kind of a one-piece unit where the plastic base and the top part of the burner itself. This isn't focusing very well. Maybe we should put it back to here. And the burner itself, it was all a little bit better integrated. It's got a smaller burner, a little more vulnerable piezo lighter on top of that. The new one is a different type of bowl. It has a little better lever control on this as far as the gas flow is concerned. Has a larger burner, but that prohibits using the old stand. It won't fit inside that burner, the stand that's used for the actual bottle of gas to give it a little bit more stability. And after using it, it's just not that stable. I'm not all that impressed with it. My main gripe, though, with this, I'm going to fold it back down and put it back in, is and the only way to get this to nest inside the JetBoil Java cup is if you remove the lid off of off the can of gas. Nothing's really going to come out of that unless it's pierced with that one-way valve going through and into the burner itself. But boy, it just doesn't give you the room that the other one gave you with the difference as far as the burner is concerned. The Java comes with a coffee press that collapses down into the kit. And I like this coffee press. It's the same one that I use on my old one as well. Nothing's really changed from that. This, if you're not familiar with how things work, I'll put it into this old one here. The open side of that would go down inside and over the top of the coffee. And then after the coffee steeps for a little bit, you press it, and then you have your coffee press. Then you can pour it without having to take that off there. I'm sold on JetBoil. I really like their stuff, and there are some other competitors out there who make some pretty good products as well. I'm just a little disappointed in their new design with the burner, for whatever that's worth. I like to grind the coffee that I'm bringing with me, and I realize that's more equipment to take. But you know what? All my gear fits into this new swag that I got from motorpumps.com. So this neoprene satchel holds two things in here. The first thing that it holds is my grinder. This grinder is by GSI. If you're not familiar with GSI, they are along the same lines of Sea to Summit or MSR as far as their innovation and their great products that they put out there. This is a grinder, a coffee grinder. The top comes off, the coffee goes in there. I'll show you that here in just a second. The handle switches out and fits on to the top of the grinder and allows you to go through and grind the coffee there. And once it's all ground, it comes out into this little cup at the bottom of it. I really like this a lot. It's not all that easy to clean. It requires you to remove 3 Phillips screwdrivers through this, and the whole grinding mechanism will come out. I'm not cleaning it all the time, obviously. After each trip, that kind of thing, I'm going to go through and make sure it's cleaned up. But it grinds right down to a coffee press size as far as the grind is concerned, and it creates excellent coffee. Also in this kit, and this is one of my favorite pieces of kit, is my coffee container. This is made by a company called Fellow. I just came across them on the internet. Let's see if you can see their name there, Fellow. And it's a canister, and the canister goes through and holds a coffee. But let's see, I don't know if I have it pumped up here. And what I'm doing to vacuum seal this is I'm moving the top of this back and forth until it locks on the other side, right? Can you hear that? Now listen to this. Wow. Yeah, it creates a vacuum inside this thing, okay? And I don't know if you can see all those tiny little holes in there that sucks the air out of the canister and keeps my coffee beans fresh. Pretty slick, right? Yeah, I'm very impressed with what this is doing for a number of reasons. One, obviously, is it's keeping the beans fresh. 2, the vacuum keeps this thing closed all the time. I don't have to worry about it knocking open or vibrating open or anything that way. And there's some satisfaction in releasing that vacuum. And oh man. You know, Maslow's hierarchy needs, we talked about shelter and sleep. I think coffee might actually be below those as far as the whole hierarchy is concerned, meaning that it's you got to have coffee before anything else, before you can enjoy anything else. So I'm going to show you, let's see, I think that's it out of these items. And that's it for the gear review with this. Let me show you how I make some coffee. So let's start off with the grind. First thing I'm going to do is put this Java mill together so I can go through and use it.
So removing the handle, I'm going to take the knob off that and click it back onto the other side of the handle, and then I insert that into where...
The handle is facing upwards this way, and that allows me enough grind. Now the handle's that long because it requires quite a bit of torque to go through and actually grind the coffee within this. With that on there, I'm going to go through and remove the lid from that. And I'll release the pressure inside of this, and I'm going to pour some beans inside here. All right, and I filled it up just past these little stanchions in there. That's about enough coffee. That makes about 2 full rounded teaspoons full for a good cup. I'm going to go through and put this back together again. My cat's relentless. Let me go take care of her just a minute. Okay, the cat's taken care of in a good way, okay? All right, have the coffee inside there, and now I'm going to go through and do the grind, and I'm hoping you can hear that as well as I go around. Probably easier to set this down on a solid surface and go through and grind it. I'm going to do that right here. And you'll know you're at the end of your grind when it freewheels this way, and it's all done, and I can't hear it grinding anymore. So it's done, and if I take this apart, you can see inside there's my ground coffee. All right, so now we're ready to go through and heat up some water, or you can do this while you heat up water, whatever your whole coffee routine might be. I'm using my old JetBoil on this because it's predictable and I've used it a million times. Kids, don't try this at home, okay? I have no gasoline fumes in the garage. Everything is sealed up just so everybody's aware. I'm going to have an open flame here with what's going on. Like I said, the piezo lighter on this doesn't work, so I have this lighter that I keep with the JetBoil, and I have another one in my tank bag made by Taclite, and it's an electronic arc lighter. I'm going to hold it up here, and you should be able to see that arc electronically across the top there. There we go. Pretty handy. This will do up to 1,000 lights on a single charge. It charges right off of my my Sherpa brick that way, and I use that to go through and light things up here. All right, that's on. I'm going to go through and dump 2 cups worth of water into the can. There's a line inside the JetBoil can, and this pouch just happens to hold exactly 2 cups there. And I'm going to mount that onto the flame, and I'm going to crank it up to boil. It takes about 90 seconds or so for that to happen. All right, we're at a rolling boil here now. And now that it's there, I'm going to go through and shut it off. And here's one critical thing that you need to understand. You cannot have it boiling when you add the coffee, okay? In fact, I found some of the best brew techniques, there we go, is to let it settle for about 30 seconds or so, let it cool down. It comes back down to the right temperature for you to add coffee for that perfect taste. I'm not going to wait quite that long though. The boil has come down on that, and I'm going to go through and add the coffee. I'm going to stir that in, and you'll want to do this as well. It's going to foam up a little bit inside, but you want to stir it just to make sure that all the grounds get the hot water coverage that you need. And once I'm done with all that, I'm going to go through and put on the press, seal it around the lip, and then I'm going to press it right down until it hits the top of the water, and I have to feel for that resistance. I'm going to leave it there, and then we let it set there. We let it set there for 4 minutes, and after 4 minutes, you're going to have an incredible cup of coffee. I promise you. I'm not going to sit here and pour and drink it and make you suffer that way, but I will after I finish this last part of the show. You might be wondering about the water bag that I use for this. These are made by Vapor. They fold out very nicely and small, and I keep a couple of these on the bike. They have this little clip that will go through and keep it nice and small, and I just chuck this in my bag, and I have a water bottle. I have 2 or 3 of these wherever I go. They hold 2 cups there, 16 ounces each that way, and if I need to clip that on anything. O-ring seals both in the mouthpiece and in the main piece that way. All right, I'm making this too long. That's it. Hope you go enjoy a cup of coffee yourself. I'm going to go through and enjoy this one after I wrap this up. Let's see, next on UTADV, I'll get the rest of the JetBoil cooking gear that I use. And I think that's all I'll do for that episode. I'm trying to keep these a little bit shorter. So enjoy the new music going out, and stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks for watching UTADV. I appreciate your support. I lied. You really do make that sound when you drink a cup of coffee on camera.